Hello world, welcome back to Razor RC. It's time for another review, and today I will be reviewing the Team Associated ProSC10. This is a $300 RTR 1/10 scale short course truck. Came out a few months ago. Basically has a couple different versions. It comes with the Trophy Rat, the Reflex DB10, and the truck you see in front of us here, the ProSC10. And so I'm going to rate this truck in a bunch of different categories as usual, giving you my thoughts and opinions, basically rating things from 1 to 10, where 1 is terrible, 10 is basically perfect, and 5 is actually an average score. It's not a bad score, it just means it's kind of average compared to other vehicles in this class. So let's just get into it. So here it is, the Team Associated ProSC10. I've been running it for a few weeks now. I've got an unboxing video, I've got a little bashing session I recorded, and I also have a tips and tricks video that teaches you how to basically get a little bit more performance out of your truck for not very much money. Definitely recommend you check out those videos if you haven't already, and it'll give you a little more background on the kit. So here it is, Team Associated ProSC10. Here's my actual truck. It's fairly stock. There are a few things I put on there. I basically got rid of the servo saver. I moved the ESC to the back. Did a little bit of tuning with the shock oils and stuff. And then basically got some new shock caps for the shocks. Addressed a few of the issues I had with the truck, things I didn't quite like, and I think it makes it drive better overall. So what this is basically the ProSC10, which if you look into it, it's essentially an RTR version of their current race kit, the SC5M. So it's a two-wheel drive short course truck. The SC5M is a rear motor aluminum chassis kit, but this is a plastic chassis rear motor. I'm sorry, did I say mid motor for the SC5M and rear motor for this, the ProSC10? And so it's a dedicated basher platform. Comes with all waterproof electronics, the servo, the ESC, the receiver, all waterproof. Comes with the radio, obviously. You have this, the XP120, so I've actually been running this radio, and it's proven to be a pretty good truck overall. So most of the parts are actually compatible with the SC5M or the B5, of which it's also based off of. The B5 is a rear motor plastic chassis buggy that Team Associated used to sell and has been discontinued. So that's kind of a little introduction to what this truck is all about. So I want to rate this in a few different areas. The first thing is the actual build. Now, since it's an RTR, it comes built for you. You do not have to put anything together yourself. It's ready to go out of the box. I did have some issues with the kit as it came. Number one, basically one of these shocks had like the wrong shock screw. I don't know if you can see it here. But basically the screw that was going into one of the arms was just like way too short. It was like the wrong length. So I swapped that out. Fortunately, I was able to get that out before it actually stripped, so I didn't notice that. Other things that were going on. Just realized my shocks are kind of back like that. Anyways, other things that were going on. The mesh was set too tight on the motor, so I had to loosen that a little bit. The O-rings actually in these shock caps were a little deformed. They were actually too big, so it wouldn't really provide a good seal. And other than that, I think that was pretty much it. The gear diff had just a little bit of grease, really needed a little more grease. So overall, I'm going to give the build a 4 out of 10, a little below average. I mean, there's some things a little bit wrong out of the box, but overall, you know, it's definitely runnable. I was able to just drive it, you know, straight out of the box and go. So build 4 out of 10. Next thing I want to talk about is the design. And the ProSC10 is actually a pretty good design. I really enjoy it quite a bit because it's essentially a modern two-wheel drive short course truck. Pretty much, you know, no other manufacturer has a RTR that is really up to date with the current race kits that are out there. You know, Kyosho's got a kit, but it's like an SC6, which is a pretty old kit. There's the HPI Bliss, there's a Slash two-wheel drive, Losi's got a XXX SCT. So all of those trucks are all actually fairly old designs and have been around for like years and years. But the ProSC10 is based off of basically the SC5M, which is their current race kit. You know, they did announce the SC6.1, but it isn't actually on the market yet. So when you get this kit, you're actually getting pretty much a race based platform that is actually compatible with most of the option parts for the SC5M. So I enjoy that quite a bit. Now, it does make for a good basher because it's rear motor. Rear motor is generally easier to drive than mid motor. It's easier to tune. It's going to be more suitable for loose outdoor surfaces. The other nice thing about rear motor that's not obvious is that you can still run a stick pack. So in this particular case, you can run full-size lipos. You can run 2S, you can run 3S. So it's just a little more flexible battery-wise as well. And yeah, so overall, I enjoy the design. It's quite a bit better than the SC10, which was their previous RTR platform. The SC10, you know, if you just kind of compare the arms, the chassis, even like the Nerf bars and everything, it just looks way flimsier and way more breakable. So the Pro SC10, I think, is a lot more durable and a lot more modern than the SC10 platform was. The SC10 was based off the B4, which has been around for like 20 years, so it's pretty much overdue to get revised. So the other nice thing about the Pro SC10, it is all metric hardware, so you really can use your 1.5, 2mm, all your normal hex drivers. You don't have to bust out any of those SAE drivers. So I pretty much don't buy kits unless they're metric, just because I don't want to have two sets of tools, and so this was really a nice welcome change. So design wise, I'm going to rate it a 9 out of 10. You know, it just seems like a really good platform that can do everything. To me, this is a basher. You know, it's obviously waterproof, it's got RTR electronics, you can run lipos and stuff, but it's also something that's modern and capable enough to do a little bit of racing as well. You know, racing this at the club level will be fine. Obviously, it's not as good as the hardcore Team Associated race kits, but it is still a reasonably modern and capable vehicle. So design, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Moving on, let's talk about performance. So how does this truck drive? In a word, it drives really, really well. It's light on its feet. It's actually a very light truck. You know, with the plastic chassis, it's actually lighter than most race kits nowadays that have aluminum chassis. It's easy to drive with the rear motor. You definitely get plenty of rear traction. The stock tires are not very good for anything other than the street. So if you're running on dirt, grass, indoor clay, or whatever, definitely recommend getting the right tires and wheels. But these will do okay just bashing around outside your house and whatnot. It's also very tunable. So there's a lot of adjustments you can make. Obviously, adjustable turnbuckles. You can adjust shock locations. You can adjust camber link locations. You can move the battery up and down in the chassis. So a lot of adjustments. Pretty much most of the adjustments you'll get out of modern kits nowadays. Now, they did kind of simplify it from the SC5M, so you don't get quite as many adjustments. Like the caster blocks normally have like trail adjustments. The rear hubs usually have more holes on where you can mount the camber links and stuff. So they did kind of simplify the car, just made it a little easier to, I guess, work on overall, but does not have as many adjustments as the SC5M. But the truck jumps well, it lands well, it's easy to drive, predictable. So overall, I found the performance very, very good. I'm going to rate it a 9 out of 10. Now, it does also actually have stability control, which is used basically in the receiver. I did not actually engage that, so you know, for me, I don't really use traction control, stability control, whatever you want to call it. I just rely on my hands, you know, on the radio and drive it that way. So I don't know how that actually works, but from what I hear, that also works well. And so, yeah, performance is excellent. Moving on, let's talk about durability. And I have not broken a single thing on this truck. I actually got rid of the servo saver. I'm running a plastic servo horn. I've smashed this into fences. I flipped it over. I've lawn darted it. My son drove it into a concrete wall. You know, I've definitely put it through its paces, and it's proven to be extremely durable. I mean, there's nothing I've broken on this truck, which is, you know, pretty surprising. But at the same time, I'm not too surprised because I've actually owned several versions of the buggy, the B5, the B5M, and so I'm fairly familiar with this generation of Associate kits, and then they've always proven to be very, very durable. So I'm happy overall. Durability, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. The only thing that I would say is, you know, maybe a little weak is the body. The body I've bashed a little bit, but you know, they were just like, well, I guess it's not too bad, but there were like some little cracks here that were forming kind of in the rear end. I assume they're gonna break pretty soon, but you know, it's not made out of Lexan. I think it's like PVC or something, but that's really the only area that I found not super durable, but for an RTR kit, it's totally fine. So durability, 9 out of 10. Next kit I want to talk about is value, and so this kit retails for $300. That's without battery or charger, and obviously with the radio. So Other kits that are on the market, like I mentioned, the HPI Blitz, the Kyosho SE6 Ready Set, the Traxxas Slash VXL 2-wheel drive, the Losi XXX SCT, those are all over $300. Basically, those are all ranging from about $315 up to about $350. And so they're more expensive, this kit, and quite a bit older, right? All of those kits are based off of either race kits or other vehicles that are like 5-6 years old now. And so I feel like this actually provides a huge amount of value. It's the cheapest, it's the most modern. You can get all the latest race upgrades if you want, aluminum parts, this and that, titanium stuff, and make it, basically as good as you want. And so to me, value is a 10 out of 10. I think it's basically the best value if you want an RTR 2-wheel drive short course truck. And the other great thing is you can bash it, you can race it, whatever. It's really kind of the do everything truck to me. So value 10 out of 10. Next category I want to talk about is support. So this is Team Associated, really one of the largest companies here in the US. You can get parts everywhere, you can call them up, you can order from them directly from their website, etc., get help, etc. So I've always been very happy with Team Associated. I feel like they support their products quite well, and so support, I'm going to give them a 10 out of 10. Next category is maintenance, and short course trucks in general can sometimes be a little finicky to work on just because they have a lot of bodies, body mounts, bumpers and stuff kind of wrapped around all their chassis and their transmissions and stuff. So this was not the easiest thing to work on. It's not the hardest thing to work on, but the rear transmission assembly does come out as one giant piece. You basically have to remove the bumper, a couple screws up here, and then a couple screws on the bottom, and this whole thing just kind of pops out and leaves the wheel and arms and suspension all in place. So that's kind of nice. Overall, I think it's fairly easy to work on. 2-wheel drive short course trucks, obviously are simpler than 4-wheel drive short course trucks. So I do find it overall a fairly easy vehicle to work on. You can actually just pop the servo out with a couple screws underneath and removing the drag link here. So overall, I think it's quite easy to work on, as short course trucks can be. So I'm going to give the maintenance a 6 out of 10. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is basically the radio. So this is the radio, the XP120. It's a 2.4 gigahertz radio, uses 4 AA batteries, integrated antenna. So overall, it's a pretty basic radio, right? Just throttle, steering, a little bit of slop, not obviously an expensive radio, but I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well it actually works. It's got all the adjustments you need, steering, throttle, dual rate, and trim, servo reversing. It's got a little LED that tells you that it's on, a little red LED. So overall, I found it fine. It's going to work fine for bashing, doing some racing, whatever. I actually have not upgraded this to another radio, so I have been running it. It's not the fastest thing or the most precise, but it's adequate. And, overall is actually a little better than I was expecting. It's actually quite comfortable. I like the way the handle fits my hand. Trigger is fine, wheel's fine. It actually has some real film. It's not just a little plastic or rubber hard piece. So overall, I think Team Associated did a pretty good job with this radio, including it and being serviceable. So the radio, I'm actually going to give it above average. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for an RTR kit, just because it's got the stability control and it's overall, got every adjustment you need and, works just fine. So what did I not like about this truck? And so there are a few things, and it really has to do with just kind of the way it was equipped. Number one, the shock caps need to be replaced. The stock shock caps are these plastic shock caps, which is fine, but they had no bleeder holes. There was no way to properly actually build your shocks with the right amount of oil and actually be able to bleed out the air. So you definitely need to upgrade that. That was like $8. The seals, like I mentioned, were basically not working. They were like way too big for the shock, so I had to replace those. But other than that, really had no problems with the truck. I mean, I like it a lot, if you can tell already. I mean, it just drives really well. It's very durable, handles great, has a lot of upgrade parts, still modern, and then it's inexpensive. So overall, I'm very happy with the truck. So what's my overall conclusion? I think it's a great truck. I'm really, really happy with this truck, actually. I don't buy a whole lot of RTRs. Generally, focus more on race kits and stuff. But this is one of the RTR kits I picked up recently, and I've been just very happy. It's just such a fun truck to drive. It can, you know, run on basically any terrain. You know, you just got to get the right tires. That's, you know, one thing I wish it came with was better off-road tires. You can race with it. You know, you can tune it to your heart's content. Whatever. I'm just very happy with this truck overall and think it's a great kit and it's a great value overall. So overall, my overall rating for this truck is actually a 9 out of 10. I really like this truck. I don't think I'm going to sell it, you know, like maybe ever. I don't know. Maybe if they come out with a newer version. But, you know, Team Associates, I think, got into the trouble of actually redesigning their RTRs, basing them off of modern platforms. So it took them a little while to come out with this kit because they didn't really have the right plastic chassis. But I'm glad they actually came out with the chassis. I'm glad they actually came with an RTR version. And overall, it's just a great kit. You know, I think it's good for beginning drivers. I think it's good for experienced drivers. I think it's good for people that want to bash, want to race a little bit. It's 2S and 3S capable. It's waterproof. If you haven't seen my video of me driving this around in a muddy off-road track outside, I mean, the thing was just filthy. This entire tub chassis was full of dirt. You can barely see the ESC and the servo, and I cleaned this thing all up. You know, I basically just kind of hosed it off, scraped up all the dirt, took it apart, and you know, the electronics worked fine. You know, it is water resistant for sure. So anyways, that's it for my review. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel as always, and look for more videos soon. Take care.